what we can offer you is an appointment.
There are many services that parents can access.
And you can have an opportunity.
Pam Menzies Banton manages New Roots and the ARC.
And we can inform you about. Our work with the African and Caribbean community is based around a range of services. We offer advice and information on a one-to-one. We also offer a counselling programme aimed at harm reduction, control, particularly around drinking, or abstinence. We also help people access the services that they need, for instance, detoxification, more long-term treatment. It may be they need a methadone programme. So we help people engage with those services. We'll also stay engaged with them whilst they're undertaking that treatment to help make that much more meaningful and help them reach their goals. We will see loved ones without the drinker or the drug user actually making access to services. Parents could access help from the National Drugs Helpline. They can call the local street agencies, drug street agencies, where most towns now will have an agency that is readily accessible. They can call there. They don't have to give their name. You know, they can do that anonymously, speak to an advisor. They can also call in and drop in and get some information. So there are a range of areas. GPs can also be helpful. We have now in most towns and cities what we call a GP shared care scheme, where nurses who are trained in working with drug dependents will be there to support GPs. So GPs are better informed on helping drug users and their families to access information and treatment.
See you for a supervision. So when do you think
Jean King is the manager at Drug Care.
Yeah, June's good.
Is June good?
Hertfordshire has got a plethora of services. There are 16 services throughout Hertfordshire, which I think is quite a high number. What I believe, though, is that there are people out there, some of whom I hope will be watching this video, who really don't know what to expect when they see a service name. They'll see the name Drug Care or the name of one of the other services in Hertfordshire, and they'll maybe almost be frightened to approach because they don't know what to expect. And I think that accessibility is about, often about the person being brave enough to pick up the phone for the first time or to come through the door here for the first time. And I don't underestimate the courage that takes from an individual, whether it's a parent, a partner, or somebody with a problem directly as the result of their own misuse. It's a very brave thing to do. For Drug Care, having a client-centred approach means being there for the individual, asking the individual what they want and not enforcing a regime on them. So it's quite relevant for people to come along to reduce the chaos in their life, to be able to manage maybe their medication, maybe just to reduce the harm in their lives, and to have small steps as goals instead of expecting abstinence in a week, because we know it's not going to happen. It's about the person taking control of their lives for themselves and us being part of that to facilitate it for them.
Traditionally, services have been set up to meet the needs of heroin users. That's not to say that there are no black heroin users, but there are other drugs that are being used now in increasing numbers, such as crack. And I think services are just now starting to get to grips with developing appropriate responses for the needs of crack cocaine users and polydrug users, where somebody's using more than one drug. For African Caribbean people, a response needs to be more out in the community, bringing people in, giving the community an opportunity to say, this is the type of service that we need. This is the type of response. We also have the counselling networks and the models of counselling that often are very based in European, Christian, Jewish traditions and ethos. And there's a need to actually look at, are those models relevant? In my opinion, there are no adequate crack services. There may be very good practice going on up and down the country, but they're very few and far between. And often there may well only be one service in a locality which covers quite a wide area, and travelling to that service and being able to engage people and hold them that makes it more difficult.
Help. There wasn't really any options. Yes, you can go to the traditional detox, but then they can't really do a lot to you there apart from talk to you, unless they're going to put other things inside of you, I don't know, but they're not going to, there's no treatment for crack cocaine as there is for heroin, where you have methadone or something to bring you down. Thailand was the only option because, like I said, I wanted to be completely out of the environment that I was in for a good period of time. Because it's not so much the withdrawals, it's the people, it's the association, and I needed to get away from that so I can, like say, let my brain tick. And plus you've got, I don't know, the spiritual side of things as well, which that I suppose attracted me as well, maybe to like find myself a bit more. The quiet moments by myself, it's like I had my whole, everything that I'd done was flashing back on me, and whether it was good or bad, people I've hurt, and it was just like I was alive again, basically. I was just getting normal reactions because I've always put things, I've run away from everything before, and now I've got to face them. So I suppose having to deal with things like that and makes you into a stronger person.
The illegal use of drugs within a community is just not a matter for the police. We would say all members of the community have a duty and a responsibility to fight the illegal use of drugs. It causes victims within the community, it causes crime within the community. And what we would say is report any information that you have about crime to your local police station, or if you do not want to do that, use the National Crime Stoppers numbers, which you can ring anonymously, and give information anonymously, which we will be in a position to act on.